So let's talk a little bit about circles and spheres. Honestly, there are only a couple of things that your book talks about in terms of circles and spheres. The first thing is the different parts of circles and spheres, and then how they meet together. So here at the top of the page, I have a two-dimensional drawing of a circle. Circles are two-dimensional objects, so it's kind of easy to draw them. But I wanted to point out three important features of circles. One is the center of the circle. So we would say that the center of this circle is at point P. Another thing to talk about is the radius. Here's the radius. The radius is from any point, segment from the center to the edge, to one edge of the circle. So that's a radius. This would be a radius. This would be a radius. We can have multiple radii of the circle, but it's the distance or that segment from the center to one side of the circle. And then we have to talk about the diameter. So the diameter is the distance from one side of the circle through the center and to the other side of the circle. And again, you can have multiple diameters as long as you start touching one side in a straight line, go through the center, and then touch the other side. So just to clarify, the red line would not be a diameter because it's not going through the center of the circle. So another thing to talk about here is the relationship between the radius and the diameter. So a lot of times we use R for radius and D for diameter. So we could say 2 times the radius equals the diameter. So the radius is, or we could also say the radius is half the diameter. So both of those are true. All right, enough about radius and diameter. Let's talk about circles and how they can intersect each other. So we have 2 circles in this drawing here, and these 2 circles don't meet or don't touch each other. So circles can not intersect each other. Circles can also intersect each other at one point, and circles can also intersect each other at 2 points. So those are basically the 3 ways that circles can relate to each other. Now, a little bit lower on this screen, I have a 2-dimensional shape that is supposed to represent a sphere. So a sphere is just the geometry term for a ball. So, when we see a ball that is completely round, not like a football, but like a round ball, that is a sphere. And again, just like a circle, we have a center point to the sphere. And then we have a radius that touches the center and goes to anywhere on the outside. And it's hard to draw in 2 dimensions, but you can imagine 3 dimensions where the radii go in all different directions, touching the outside edge of the sphere. Likewise, we have the diameter of a sphere where it touches the outside edge, goes through the center, and then touches the another outside edge. Same kind of relationships between radius and diameter. 2 times the radius is the same as the diameter, or we could also say a radius is half the diameter. Okay, now here's a little difference between circles and spheres, the way that they can touch each other, or intersect each other. So here we have 2 spheres that don't meet each other. Just like circles, spheres can intersect each other or meet at a single point. But unlike circles, when 2 spheres intersect each other, they actually intersect at a circle. So their intersection, if you can imagine 2 spheres intersecting each other, because it's 3-dimensional, they create a circle with their intersection. So that's a little bit about circles and spheres. We'll talk a little bit more about circles in our measurement unit. But for now, that's your introduction to circles and spheres.